Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 11. So, last week we started learning more about technical details in comic drawing because we already covered the basics, so like stories, characters, and expressions. And last week we focused on lines, which is one of the two very important basics of drawing. So, the other one is color, which we will learn about today. And that is why our lesson is titled Adding a Splash of Color. So, first of all, just as a fun icebreaker, I want to ask you all, what is your favorite color? And also, do you prefer black and white comics or colored comics? So, think about if you have a reason for either of these choices. Now, color is very important in comics because it can convey many feelings, and it can set the tone or mood of a comic, or just make a comic more interesting to look at. So here are two example comics with colors in them. And then this one with the different seasons. The artist uses different colors to show different seasons. So for example, this yellowish brown for autumn, and then turquoise for winter, and then green for spring, and red and yellow for summer. So that is just a very simple example of using color in comics to show different seasons. Now let's start our introduction to color. So there are three important basics of color that we need to remember, which are saturation, value, and hue. So I'm going to explain each of these terms and give you tips on how to apply them in comics. Let's get started. So first, we have saturation, which means how vivid or vibrant a color is. So for example, these saturated colors here, red, yellow, green, and blue, versus their desaturated version. So these colors are now closer to gray and they seem a bit dimmer. And then another example at the top here with this orange color, this is the saturated version and then a bit desaturated and very desaturated. And now it becomes closer to gray or it looks even kind of brownish. And the more saturated a color is, the more energetic and intense it feels. And then when colors are less saturated, they can feel serious, calm, or even sad, depending on the color. Next, we have value, which means how bright or dim a color is. So if you ever mixed paint before, you know that adding white paint makes the color brighter and adding black paint makes the color dimmer. That is what value means. So for example, let's choose blue this time. Adding white paint or moving the color towards the right over here makes the color brighter, and then it gets dimmer towards the left, or if you add black paint. And brighter or like pastel colors, they feel calm, elegant, dreamy, and sometimes peaceful. And then dim or muted colors, they feel more serious, somber, or sometimes even sad. Then we have hue, which means the type of color, just like the different colors of the rainbow. So as you all know, hues are divided into warm colors, cool colors, and sometimes neutral colors. So warm colors, red, orange, and yellow, they represent warmth, energy, happiness, or sometimes even danger, like red. And cool colors, they're green, blue, and purple, and they represent calmness, or sometimes even sadness. And green and purple could be considered as neutral colors, so not very warm nor cool. Now, a very important tip to know about hues is that these hues or colors are very useful in conveying different feelings. So, this is something known as color psychology, which all artists and designers use. So, basically, different colors show different feelings or give viewers of the artwork or design different impressions. So here are charts showing different hues and the feelings that they represent. So for example, blue represents calm and or confidence or coolness. And then in contrast, yellow represents like hope, optimism, and happiness. And then green represents health or growth and freshness and nature. And as another example, red is very intense. It can represent like passion or excitement or energy, but sometimes danger and anger. And this could be because the human brain associates these colors with different elements in nature. Like, for example, blue is the color of the sky and the ocean, and those kind of feel calm and kind of cold. And yellow is the sun, so a lot of people feel happy when they see the sun, so it represents happiness and warmth. And then green is the color of all these plants, so it represents freshness and growth. And red is the color of like berries and fire, and when people's faces heat up, it becomes kind of red. So it represents energy and excitement, like oh, you see a berry or the fire gets going. But it also can represent danger because of many like poisonous, for example, poisonous mushrooms. They're kind of a lot of them are red, and fire is kind of dangerous sometimes. So our human brain now remembers these colors as the feelings that they show. So color is very important when you're drawing comics, and especially when you're trying to represent the personality and emotions of a character. So take red as an example. If a character is very hot-tempered or always gets angry, then you can use a lot of red on this character. And if a character is very serious and calm, then you can use blue or even a desaturated version of blue to show that the character is very serious. And also, when you're drawing comics, a change of the background color can show a change of mood or a change of the place or setting of the comic. So, for example, if a panel has mostly cool colors, and then the next panel is suddenly changed to having a lot of warm colors, then that could either show that the character's mood changed from, I don't know, very calm to very like excited or angry or whatever, or it can show that the character moved from a very cold place to a very warm place. Now, before we move on, here is a quick summary on how to use color to convey feelings in comics. So here is a very nice chart as an example. So hue or color means different colors, and we learned that there are warm and cool colors and color psychology. So that represents different emotions and personalities, and it's very useful when you're designing characters or drawing comics. And we also have saturation, which means how vivid or vibrant a color is, like so more energetic or intense or more calm and serious. And then we also have value, and on the chart it says brightness, but that's kind of the same as value. So it's like how bright or dim a color is. Now let's see some examples on how artists apply these three basics to convey many different things in their artwork, which we will see now. So on the first illustration, the artist uses a contrast of saturated or bright and desaturated or dim colors to highlight the focal point. So in this illustration here, the background is mostly these very pastel, very bright colors, and then the very dark colors, like this piano here and the violin, are very saturated and just dimmer than the background. So that highlights the focal point, which is the most important part of the illustration. So these two musicians, and the piano and the violin. And then for the second illustration here, the artist uses very like these calm colors in the background, like blue, green, and yellow, to show the very peaceful summer weather. And the focal point is highlighted using very saturated and bright colors. So for example, when you look at this illustration, you see the little boy in the middle standing on the rocks. First, because the boy is wearing a very bright red swimsuit. And then your eye moves towards the other people in the water, which some of them are wearing these bright blue and yellow swimsuits. And the next comic is a typical webcomic, and the artist uses warm versus cool colors, or cool versus warm colors, to show different temperatures and feelings. So, like tropical heat on holiday, the artist uses cool colors. It looks very calm with the blue and green and turquoise. And then tropical heat at home, the artist uses only the most warm colors, so red, orange, yellow, and even black, to show that like her house is burning. Now here are some more examples of colors representing emotions or the weather in comics. So the first one is Raina Telgemeier herself. She's sleeping and then she's kind of sweating a bit, and then she jumps up, and then the background changes from black to kind of purple to show like a sudden change, and like she's jumping out of bed. And then the last panel shows that she wants to vomit, and you know very clearly that she wants to vomit because of these wavy and kind of desaturated green tones or green colors in the background, because we associate vomit with the color green. And then for this final example here, the same artist uses colors to represent weather. So the weather here is very windy, kind of cold, and it's kind of dim outside. So the artist uses a lot of desaturated blues and greens. And then there's this whoosh of wind in the middle where the artist uses blues that are more saturated, but still kind of, desaturated and somber. But the focal point of the comic is still highlighted using very bright and saturated colors. So the focal point are these two characters that I think are siblings, and they're wearing clothes that are very like vibrant in color, so your eye immediately goes to them. But the desaturated colors in the background still shows the weather. Now I will be introducing you all to a special creative challenge called the 3-Color Challenge. So this is something that I've been wanting to show you all for a long time, because I think it's going to be very helpful for you to exercise your creative muscles. And I always like to use this challenge to give me inspiration when I don't know what to draw. So the 3-Color Challenge is basically creating a character using only 3 colors. But these 3 colors are not colors that you choose, but that you randomly pick. So let's see the steps. So first, take a colored pencil or marker set, and then, or even a painting set, just any set with colors. And then second, close your eyes and pick 3 random colors. Or if you're working digitally, if you have like a digital drawing software, you can use an online random color generator and just use the same colors that the generator picks. And 3, use only the 3 colors that you randomly picked to design a character. So think of what feelings this color combination shows, and think of how these colors would represent your character's personality or emotions. So here are some of my examples. And so for example here, for the character with the green leaves and the red hair over here, kind of looks like a fairy in nature. I thought that the green would be a very nice way for me to represent nature in the character, and then the red is kind of the focal point of the character. So like the red hair, maybe it kind of resembles a berry, like, a lot of leaves with a berry in the middle. And then the character's dress is kind of this purplish, pinkish color that kind of represent flowers. So I thought this color combination represented nature very well. So I designed a character that is kind of feels like a character or fairy in nature. And then as another example here, so the character above the nature fairy, I used the turquoise and blue as kind of the two main background colors to show that the character is in this like seaside landscape. But I also used the red to highlight the focal point of the little illustration here. So the red is used for the character's hair and also for the seashell that the character is reaching to pick. And it kind of tells a story, like, so why is her hair the same color as the seashell? Is there like a connection there? I don't know. But yeah. And as a final example, I have this character with this well, sketch of a dragon in the background. But these three colors that I picked are all very desaturated. And so I thought it kind of represented maybe like an ancient legend. So I drew this character with this cloak that kind of looks like an adventure, like take your pet dragon on an adventure. So those are some examples of my three color challenge drawings and how I use colors to show a character's personality and emotions and how to tell that character's story. Now it's time for our workshop. So today your task is to either create a character using the three color challenge or create a comic using the color techniques that we learned today. Now I'll get started drawing. Have fun!